9 a.m. and we like to try to start on time. I try to follow Commissioner Ashworth's example of starting on time. Amy, would you do a roll call for us, please?
Commissioner Ashworth. Here. Commissioner Banks.
Here.
Commissioner Hassler. Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Wild.
Here.
We expect our other two commissioners to get here, and we certainly have a quorum with three of us, and we can get started. In our open discussion, I had one quick thing. I wanted to thank everybody this past Saturday who was out for Balling in the Lou. This is unbelievably our fourth year. We had a great game, a great turnout, a number of exciting things going on. We were lucky enough. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
We were lucky enough this year to come out with a 1-point victory over our friends in the city. Not without dispute over the calls, but that's always going to be the case. But it was a lot of fun. We had a great turnout. I certainly want to thank everybody who was able to attend. Thank all the board members. All you guys were there. And thank them for the donation of the 65-inch television. Wonderful family, actually in Jennings. They were tickled, won the drawing for the television, and we actually gave them a ride home with it because it's too big to fit into a usual car. So, but congratulations to our coach, Lieutenant Colonel Mann was our coach again this year. He says he wants to retire, but we're still in negotiations with him on that. But it doesn't happen with a lot of great people helping. Vera and Sergeant Panis in promotions, getting the flyers done, getting all the media done, just did a fantastic job. The main folks I lean on, Director Michelle Ryan, who comes through with everything. She's sitting back there in the back, all against the wall. Thank you, Michelle, for doing a fantastic job with the food and deliver everything. And then, of course, Sergeant Brandon McQuarrie, who makes it all happen. He was this assistant coach. He was the cook. he brought the PAL kids in for the halftime show. The kids came in for the three-point show or a competition. So thanks again for everybody who participated. It was a lot of fun, and we're glad this series is now tied 2-2. So next year, when the city hosts us, it will be the rubber match. Let's get right into our. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to point out there's some activity going on right now which exemplifies how much our officers really give back. The Welfare Association is running a Queen of Hearts program. They're also running their annual golf tournament in June. The folks at the FOP have their golf outing coming up, which is a great fundraiser. And on Friday night of this week, Sergeant Weinhold, they're having a bags tournament out in St. Charles in his memory. So especially never want to forget him. And I had the opportunity to go to the open house for the daycare, and it was fantastic. I've met a couple new officers who very young, and they were super appreciative, particularly the pricing structure. So thanks to the Nydorf family and to the Police Foundation and others, they're ecstatic about the opportunity to have such a great facility for their kids. So just a big shout out to our people that I don't know where they find the time to give as much as they give.
Anything else for open, guys? Anybody have anything else? Yeah, I will. Anything else? Okay, yeah, we will. Okay, is there anything else for open? Then we'll get into the pledge. Okay, oh, and I forgot to show this little thing here too at the beginning for open. I don't know where that came from, but if I want to see it, it'll be at Chief's office. That is the trophy. We hope to have it again after next year. With that, please, let's stand for the pledge.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amy, if you could also let the record reflect that Commissioner Hassler and Commissioner Thompson are here. So we have a full house. First up, Chief, is a swearing in of a new prosecuting attorney investigator. Good morning. All right. You could just raise your right hand. It's Napier, right? Napier, okay. Repeat after me. I, Christopher Napier, do solemnly swear that I am a citizen of the United States, a resident of the state of Missouri, that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, the state of Missouri, and the charter and ordinances of St. Louis County, that I will faithfully adhere to the regulations provided in the rules and procedures for deputization as adopted by St. Louis County, and that I will faithfully demean myself as a deputized officer of St. Louis County Police. So help me God. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck. Say hi to the commission. Okay. Our next item up is last year under the leadership of Commissioner Ashworth, we came up with the idea of dedicating this very boardroom. And I'm going to hand it off to Commissioner Ashworth since this was his thing from the start. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. It is a big day, as you've probably seen on the agenda. If you've taken a look at it, we're going to recognize and dedicate the boardroom, as you can now see. We have some family members of Mr. Shepley. We've got several service stars to deliver, including one that's extraordinarily special that we'll get to a little bit later. But let's talk about the room right now. If you were here in December, you watched the information. Mr. Shepley was a citizen. He was certainly a renowned citizen. He was well thought of in the community. And the county council and the county executive back in 1953 asked him to look at the police structures across St. Louis County. He put together a commission of about 15 people and a sub-advisory commission, just citizens groups, right? And they went through a process of looking at what was going on in policing across St. Louis County. And they went into it with an open mind to try to understand what needed to happen. And they basically arrived at 4 possible solutions. A merger with the city, sound familiar? 1953. Completely taking over all of the county. All the municipalities would be gone. There would be one police force in the entire county, whatever that was going to be, leaving the current sheriff constable situation in place, or perhaps creating a new police department. They opted for 4, which is why we're all sitting here, which is why the citizens of St. Louis County have a much better policing arrangement than they would have had Mr. Shepley not led the effort to get us there. So please understand the significance of what he did, because without that, we may have 80 municipalities all having their own detectives or all having their own crime service units and or might having, right? Just stop and think about what his vision led to in today's world. If you try to make it simple back then, it wasn't. He had to overcome all the politics that have to come now, right? You've got municipalities who don't want to give up their police departments and mayors who say no way, and a city that doesn't want the county and the county doesn't want the city. Anyway, all that led to a recommendation, a 47-page recommendation that said, let's create this thing called the St. Louis County Police Department. And let's call it a police department, not sheriffs and constables. And that's what we have today. That's what you are today. So our deep thanks to Mr. Shepley, hence the naming of the room for him. Our deep thanks for all he did to impact each one of you, because if those of you who are police officers who work for the county and the police function, you wouldn't be here. Don't know where you would be, but you certainly wouldn't be sitting here right now because it wouldn't exist. So if you recall, in December, we put a proclamation. The proclamation is on the wall. Former Chief Kleinecht, our historian, has Mr. Shepley's badge just next to it. So if you get a moment sometime when you're in here, please take a look at that. All that leads to our deep thanks and appreciation. That was reflected in the fact that Chief Kleinecht, who, by the way, led all this effort and did all the research as he's done as a historian, reached out through multiple sources, ultimately arrived at 2 family members of Mr. Shepley. We have a grandson and a granddaughter here. And we are so delighted because it's not like they drove in from West County or South County or the East Side. One came from Mexico, one from Connecticut. That's how important it was for them to be here to help us celebrate the unveiling of the saloon. So, Shelley, if you don't mind standing up, John, if you don't mind standing up, we've got We've got grandson and granddaughter here. We've got Shelley Berger, John Conzelman. Chief Kleineck and I last night with our spouses got to spend a little bit of time with the two of you, and you absolutely exemplify what I personally think your grandfather was about. You are humble, you are sincere, you are just darn good real people who it was just a treat to be with you. So thank you all for the gift of your grandfather, if it's done that way, right? And thank you very much for coming up for our celebration again. This is just part of what we have. Chief Kleineck said last night, I know you heard it, but for the rest of you, we've named all of our precincts and some of our buildings after our fallen officers. This is the only thing in St. Louis County Police Department that is named after a citizen or a civilian. Rightfully so, right? Because what that led to is a board that does that. Board, thank you so much for all the leadership you've exhibited. Part of our inclusion of the history is to invite some of our chiefs back. A couple of them couldn't make it, but Tim Fitch, if you wouldn't mind standing up. I know everybody knows who you are. Thank you for attending and being here. And Chief Kleineck, if you'd stand up too, I want to acknowledge you as a past chief. Thank you for that. And a quick aside would be, if you haven't peeked in his museum office, please do. The man is remarkable at what he does, the passion he shows about protecting the history of us so that we can remember it in years future, about years past. Thank you for all that you do, including uncovering and suggesting a lot of what happened today. So with that, John, Shelley, if you don't mind, I know you've had a quick look at this, but what we put together was a bit of a notebook that has records of your father, letters from him to him. Didn't have email back then, right? So they're handwritten letters. There's notices out of what was going on in the environment around him between our two newspapers and the vote for leading up to whether this county would agree to it. By the way, we as a county, 87% voted yes to have a police department. 87%. We have presidential elections that are won by 2%, 87%. So if you two wouldn't mind, and here's a copy of the final report he put together. Again, thank you so very much for attending. Thank you so very much. I think with that, the only other thing we would like to acknowledge is all the people who helped put this together besides Chief Kleineck. We have all the people from the facilities group and from property management and all of that. So Matt O'Brien, Mark McGee, Scott Snelson, Andy Palazzo, Rich Jenkins, Ken Watson, Tyrone Lang, Johnny Ree, George Hogan, Jerry Rose, Greg Carmody, Terry Shekel, Matthew Salisbury, Lisa Willis. Thank you all. We know you did everything from flattening the walls, putting up wallpaper, to making the screws work, to ordering all of that goes in, right? So it is like a spoke in a wheel. It takes everybody to make that wheel turn. And please don't underestimate the work you did to make this happen. So Chairman, other board members, thank you for your support in recognizing Mr. Shepley and thanking the family for coming back and giving us one last hurrah. We appreciate it. Maybe we'll have you back in another 5 years or so. Who knows? But thank you all. Chairman, thank you.
All right, well done. Thank you. Next on our agenda, we have a number of people to acknowledge with service stars. Let's start with 35 years of service, Miss Terry Moran.
Terry's in the back prepping for her presentation.
She knows how to make an entrance. There you are. Thank you so much. You must have been a child when they hired you.
Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
I was hoping someone would say that.
Also, with 35 years from the Division of Criminal Investigation, Mr. Daniel Stockland. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. All right. Now, these youngsters with 30 years of service, Lieutenant Colonel and Deputy Chief Juan, is it spelled Cox? Is that how you say it? Thank you, sir. Okay. And from Division of Operational Support, Ms. Veronica Claiborne. You remember him when he started, huh? He had hair then, didn't he? Okay, 25 years of service from Division of Criminal Investigation, Ms. Lisa Campbell. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate your work. Staying in the Division of Criminal Investigation, Mr. Ryan Campbell. Thank you, sir. All right. 20 years of service from the Division of Patrol, Sergeant Gina Parker. Sergeant, thank you for your service. Sorry. With 15 years from the Division of Operational Support, Mr. Brian Battles. Okay. Thank you. Congratulations. We have several in the 10-year category. Police Officer Jeffrey Ludi. I pronounced that right. Thank you. Lieutenant Justin Nichols. I saw you on the news last Friday, man. You look tall on television. Good to see you. And also with 10 years, Police Officer Nicholas Canteris. Thank you, sir. And from the Division of Criminal Investigation, Joseph Burgess, Police Officer Joseph Burgess. Burgess? No? We'll save it for him? Okay. 5 years, we're down to 5 years from the Division of Patrol, Police Officer Amra Fiker, is it? Pfizer. Thank you. All right, congratulations. Police Officer Devin Jones. Thank you, officer. Congratulations. And last, certainly not least, Police Officer Cecilia Young. Cecilia Young. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Next on the agenda, we have a young man that we wanted to recognize for being on the department for a few years. First of all, can I, by a show of hands, who was on the planet in December of 1979? Who was not on the planet? I should say, who was not on the planet? Who was not on the planet in 1979, December? Okay. And I might have Jennifer remind him for the penalty for perjury in the state. Okay. Well, let me tell you, December of 1979, president was Jimmy Carter. The Super Bowl champs, you'll like this, were the Pittsburgh Steelers. Top of the R&B charts were Ring by Bell. A dozen eggs cost 85 cents, believe it or not. And our starting salary was just over $14,000 a year for our police officers. Well, in that year, a young man by the name of Ken Gregory joined the department. And we have a little something here for you, sir, Chief, in recognition of your 45 years of service.
Well, I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you very much, sir. Can we come down to the picture? We want to come down to the picture, Chief. We're gonna take a quick second, just come down to the picture.
All of us? Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Please, no problem at all.
Sorry for the pause. We thought this was important enough that we should come down and take a picture with this young fellow. Sit next to him, it's okay.
I won't bite
You want to get it?
All right.
All right. Okay.
Got it.
All right.
you. Thank you again, sir. Appreciate it.
Speak.
Speak. I said a few words. Yes, he did. So, way to make me feel older by giving all that information about what was going on at the time. First of all, I want to thank the family for being here, for honoring Mr. Shepley. When we talked this morning, to show you how humble he was, I mentioned to the fact of you that we didn't know anything about Mr. Shepley until Colonel Kleindick brought up that information. We never knew anything about him, what he had done for the police department. And what you told me, you guys didn't know either. You didn't know either, so that's how humble he was. Thank you all for being here. 45 years, seemed like it was yesterday. Juan said he was catching up with me. You'll never catch up with me. I can remember my first day out of the academy, what I did on my first day. It wasn't hard to remember because it was a tornado in North County, and all I did was block the street for my entire first day. So that's how it was. Dating back, Colonel Kleindick hired me. Colonel Kleindick hired me 45 years ago. We were talking about that the other day. I remember the Chiefs board that we did. I remember everything about that, so thank you for that. 2000, you remember it too. 2009, Chief Fitch promoted me to Lieutenant Colonel, making me the first African-American to ever reach that position on this police department. Thank you for that. I appreciate your leadership. And I've copied my leadership styles from them, from Belmer, Chief Lee. That's how you get to do what you do, learn what you're doing. You look for the things that you got from the people that were in your position prior to that. So thanks for that. All the people that I came on with, they're gone now. They're gone now, except for Kevin Lawson. Except for Kevin Lawson, they're all gone now. So we're the last of the Mohicans here. But it's the people here that make this job enjoyable for me to come to work. So thank all of you. I appreciate it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the point of our meeting where we're about to get into the nuts and bolts of our meeting, and we give people the opportunity to run while they can. If you're welcome to stay, of course, but we're about to get into the real heart of matters, so we'll give you about a 30-second head start. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Can you do 45 more? No way. You too, man. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, you too. Colonel? 45, can you believe that?
Exactly.
You got that right.
Enjoy your day in St. Louis.
You got a beautiful day to enjoy it. All right, man. Thank you for coming, man. Thanks for being here. You came from Mexico. I can tell by the tan.
Yeah, I know.
Connecticut versus Mexico. I think we can tell who came.
Yes,
I think it's the sun.
I think this was so wonderful.
We're in Mexico.
Goodness.
Okay. I was just down that way last week. Yeah.
Should have done it down there.
Yeah, we could have. I said it's easy to tell which one was Mexico.
Right, yes. Should have taken the whole board there. Thank you so much for coming.
That's it.
Thank you guys again. Appreciate it. All right.
Still got a
Thank
friend.
you. All right.
Yeah,
You guys have a
how
safe
about
trip
that?
back.
How about that?
All right.
Yeah, we still got a pretty good crowd. We ain't lost the front row.
Nobody wants to roll.
Church.
Right.
Right here. Well, those were reserved. See, they were.
Oh, yeah. When I got off the elevator, it was like.
Okay, well, let's get started back, guys. Chief, we still have a pretty good crowd, actually.
We do.
Okay. All right, Chief, we'll hand over to you, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. A couple of things before we move on here. The 10-year-old that was missing last night in South County.
Yes, sir.
We did locate him, and he's home now. So
Oh, God, thank God. Okay.
I think he slept in a dumpster last night, and yeah, got up and walked home, and we found him at home. So he's doing fine. Speaking of the work that was done here, the Arthur B. Shepley Award, the lettering up there. I'm sure you've seen the new memorial hallway out here.
Mhm.
And Commissioner, I know you thanked a lot of people for the work that they did from Public Works. There's one more person that did a ton of work in getting that done, and I'll be remiss not to mention him. Where'd he go?
He left.
He left. He didn't want
He
the
left.
recognition.
He didn't want the recognition. Lieutenant Rodriguez kind of coordinated all of that, so great work by him. Up first is Terry, you got the budget.
With her new pen.
I already sent that back to the office. Good morning.
Morning.
I really don't have a whole lot different for you from 2 weeks ago. So I'm still saying the same deficit of 3.7 million. Again, I haven't done anything with the fringes. It's way too early. I did look at the big accounts like fuel and vehicle maintenance and telephones. Everything's looking okay right now. It's actually looking pretty good. We haven't had any emergencies where I've needed to do a transfer or anything yet, which usually happens at the beginning of the year. But so far, all is good. And then the ARPA money, we have submitted 9,257,000, and we've been reimbursed 7.9 million. So that is all I have. Any questions?
Questions? Questions? Yeah, 35 years, it gets quick, right?
Yeah, I like it. Thank you.
Have another 35-year birthday. Crime stats.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
St. Patrick's Green, I like it.
So we have our notable events. There's the giant 200%, but it's just 1 in 2024 versus 3 for citizen complaints. We're going to continue to see that increase in the next few months because in 2024, there were no complaints in February, March, or April. They're small numbers, but you're going to see a large increase as we continue on. Use of force incidents are down 43%. Not as much as it was last month, but it's the same thing that I'm kind of seeing of last year. We had a lot more violence against officers versus this year, not quite as much. And vehicle pursuits are up 30%. We only had 3 in February, even with 119 failure to yields. And then going to that map for the failure to yields, about 56% are all in North County and Jennings. For some of our highlights, there were 792 arrests that were made. That's down about 57 from January. Guns seized is up 8, and DWI reports are down 26. Expecting that with a shorter month. For our crime data, we're down 25% for homicides, 6 this year versus 8 this time last year. Every category is down for crimes against persons, which is something that I haven't seen in over a year. We did have aggravated assaults with hands, feet, and fists were up repeatedly all of last year, and we're finally seeing it down almost 3%. Overall, aggravated assaults are down nearly 13, and the total category is down nearly 16%. For the homicide infographics, we have 4 homicides for February, 3 in St. Louis County, 1 in Bellefontaine Neighbors. And the total for the year is 7, but that includes one that happened the very beginning of March. The analyst in DCI is super quick about updating these things, but they happened over the weekend, so he put them both together. Crimes against property, again, every major category is down. The only increases that we're seeing are in subcategories. 80% for strong arm robbery. Last month, I believe it was it might have been the same, 200%. Yeah, 200% last month. But overall robberies are down 13%. Larcenies are down 13%. Motor vehicle thefts are down 25%. But we're still seeing some of those Kias and Hyundais during this time last year, but it's starting to get back to normal. Overall, 19% for property. And crimes against society, again, some of the similar things that we're seeing. Overall, down 16%. All three categories combined, we are down 17.5% decrease compared to last year. For calls for service directed, every single precinct is below the moving average. We're expecting that with the or shorter days and also with the continued cold weather. And self-initiated, it's about half and half. Some precincts are higher, some precincts are lower than the moving average. I would expect to see them lower with the shorter months, so the ones that are higher are really doing more than expected. Top calls for directed, pretty much always a sick case, and then self-initiated is extra patrol. And for our traffic stop data, I believe they'll be meeting for first quarter sometime next month, once we get this month of data in. Any questions?
Is our mobile unit included in the precinct numbers?
Yes, I did just see a DWI that was written by the mobile unit, so it goes to the precinct that it occurred in.
Questions? Tony? No? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Julie, you're up.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, good morning. And sorry, again, condolences for your loss this week.
Thank you very much. I need to change this to division. I just realized that while I was sitting here that I had not updated it. Okay, so in the spirit of kind of developing our people, I'm actually going to have Sergeant Minor present today. So very excited. She has been running the show since Lieutenant Bland has been out at training. So she has been single-handedly running the office, and cannot thank her enough, but she is going to present everything for you today.
Okay. Morning. Good morning, Sergeant.
Okay, so applications received, we did really good with this month in February. They drastically increased from last year in 2024. Actually, 119% increase for commission staff. And then for professional staff, it was again another huge increase of 83% with a total of 211 applications received. So we're doing really good on that end. And we only are MBQing those at 17%. So compared to.
So before you move on,
Sure.
why? Why are we up 118% and 83%? 17%.
So I think our marketing campaign is doing an amazing job of bringing those applications in. I think Ms. Wagner noted maybe last month how good that is doing. Also too, we're contacting every single applicant. So even if the application comes in with errors, unfinished information, just questions, or maybe they don't qualify for a specific position, we reach out to them and see if they're interested in maybe something else. So every person is being touched by one of our recruiters or our staff. So I think that makes a huge difference, that personal touch. For retention, I mean, this is to be expected. Our commission staff retirements are up. It's the beginning of the year. This normally happens, so this isn't anything to be cautious about. We anticipate this. Professional staff, we haven't received any retirements so far, and resignations are down. Any questions on that? As far as recruiting, we still have 22 recruits in our academy class right now. Our next one starts at the end of June. We have 1 confirmed, 2 that are in medical and psych, 12 that are in backgrounds, and then 3 experienced officers that are in backgrounds right now. Dispatch Academy started this week, and so we have 7 PSDs back in there, and we have numerous dispatchers in the background process for the next academy date to be determined. I do want to note, we have 19 applicants scheduled for IPMA testing for the police department or the commission staff. So 19 scheduled for IPMA and 16 scheduled for PT. We have 13 scheduled this Friday for PT. So we're expecting a good turnout there. I'm going to survey the current recruits that are at the academy this Friday to find out more about how their hiring process went for them, what we can do better. I also want to know why they chose St. Louis County other than other departments, and how they knew about us. Was it the marketing? Was it just word of mouth, someone they knew? So I'm going to survey them Friday. Our recruiters, this Saturday, they're filming a video, Meet the Recruiters, and we're going to take a tour of the police department so that the applicant knows where to come in order to get to recruitment. We also had a daycare video that was just released yesterday. It's doing well. And then a TAC video that will be released here shortly. Our recruiters last month they went to 11 career fairs, and they're scheduled for 15 this month. So, are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Sorry. Let me jump in front of everybody. 2, the first is the anecdotal information you're going to obtain from the recruits about why, and would you please provide that to us as soon as you can accumulate it and aggregate it? That'd be great. And secondly, security officers, knowing that we still have a detriment of service, a dearth of service, security officers. Any special efforts that we need to be doing around them? Anything different that we need to try to shore up support for security?
We actually have 6 that are in backgrounds right now.
Okay.
So, and I spoke with the investigators, and 5 of them are really good candidates.
Excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment. I was really impressed with the idea of contacting everyone, even though they might not have completed the process, because even if they're not qualified, they may know somebody else just because you made that personal contact. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
We had placed an emphasis on the care unit and records. Can you talk a little bit about that? How is that going?
Yeah, so I actually had a meeting with Lieutenant Fumagalli this week. We have 3 good applicants that are either have been interviewed and done sit-alongs, or 2 of them need to. We have 30 that are in testing right now, and we're in discussions of modifying the testing requirements to see, because there's so many people that are just so close. And if we can just get them on board and successfully train them, we'll be golden.
Great.
Any other questions? Okay,
No, thank you.
thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Great job. Just the other day, I was speaking with one of our retirees, and he told me in reference to the contact from personnel to our applicants, told me that his nephew had put in an application for a dispatcher from Texas, where he lives now. And he put it in on one day, and the very next day, personnel contacted our retiree to follow up on the application that they had just gotten. And like I said, that was just done in a day, and he did that. So kudos to them for doing that, because we've had a lot of information about the time length of our personnel recontacting people. So it's really improving under Director Wagner. So
That's great.
Very good. Up next, we're going to have Captain Lawson come up to talk about the Fenton precinct. We took over Fenton, I don't remember what year it was. I was in tax, so that was probably 95 when we took over Fenton with the contract. So there's a lot of history in our relationship with Benton, and Captain Lawson's going to give you a little bit of that.
Good morning, Captain. Good morning, sir. Chief already threw you on the bus and said you came on the same time as he did. but-
Wait, same time though, let's drill down on that. Who was here first?
Well, I might have been here
Mida?
a
All
couple of
right,
years longer.
might have been. Might have been a couple years.
We owe him a plaque.
Yes. It's in the mail.
The mouse is not moving.
Don't everybody rush to have the captain at one time.
Sergeant Graff is on his way, you can tell.
There we go, graphic.
Ooh.
We'll roll the deputy chief out of order.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Chair should.
Captain, it's obviously not you. It's not user error here.
Not this time at least.
Young guy can't figure it out either, so you're okay. There you go.
That's human resources.
Nope, that's human resources.
You know, in a second, Commissioner Banks spoke about the event in Jennings this week. That actually changed locations. And within a week's time, the city of Jennings and the Jennings School Board and the school district came together and put on a show like unbelievable. So huge shout out. They showed up, they brought their band, they brought their cheerleaders. It was a spectacular effort, let alone accomplished in 5 days, 6 days.
You were correct. I should have pointed that out. It was Dr. Paula Knight from Jennings who came up for us at the 11th hour and got everything together for us. And there have been those petitioning us to say, every time we host, it should be in Jennings. So we'll take that on advisement. We'll see.
Colonel Norman Mann Court. It's gonna be renamed.
Okay. My name is Kevin Lawson. I've been the captain in the city of Fenton precinct since September of 2020. My prior tenure was a patrol officer in North County, patrol sergeant in North County, a lieutenant in West County. 25 years was spent in forensics, crime scene, crime lab, supervisor of crime scene, and commander of the Bureau of Criminal Identification, academy instructor, academy director, and EPS commander for a short period of time. What we're going to talk about is the city of Fenton. As we mentioned, or the chief mentioned, we've been a partnership with the city of Fenton since 1995. May 22nd of 95, we took over their patrol duties. Initially, it was a detail subsection of the Apton Southwest precinct with Commander Lieutenant Terry Roberts. In 97, it became a standalone precinct, and Commander Roberts was promoted to the rank of captain. And the commander of that precinct has been a captain for the last 30 years. This coming May 17th, 2025, we are commemorating the 30th anniversary with a partnership with the fire department up near Wally's in their firehouse on the outer road to celebrate our 30th anniversary. We were going to do it the 22nd, but it was a conflict. All the retail or detail units from our county were going to be there at the fire department. We thought we can't do it 2 weeks in a row, so we'll just combine with them, and they invited us to participate with them. When we became this partnership, it's ongoing for the last 30 years because of the ongoing police services agreement that the department's maintained and the development of the services with the city of Fenton, and they've enjoyed the services of the officers. These are the commanders that have been there over the last 30 years that you have in your packet. Kind of gives you a brief idea of their tenure within the department. It just so happens that 4 out of those 8 commanders, 1 became the chief and 3 became lieutenant colonels on this department through their careers. So it's kind of unique, the number of people that have been in that command situation in the city of Fenton and gone on to other things. Within our city of Fenton, we have a 27-person assigned personnel. The captain or the precinct commander is myself. I have an administrative aide, a precinct aide, that's a professional staff, and then we have 25 other officers. I have 3 patrol sergeants that are watch commanders. Day watch oversees squads A1 and A2. And then he also oversees D platoon, which is the precinct detective, the business resource officer, the neighborhood policing officer, the secondary business resource officer, the parks officer, and the traffic officer we developed over the last couple of years when we went to 12-hour shifts, because it allowed us to flexibility to focus the business resource officer in the Bluffs, which was already there, but the industrial complex, which I'll talk about in a few moments. And then the 2 night watch commanders have those officers that work under them, and they rotate, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so on. The precinct, if you look at the crime stats on a monthly basis, fortunately, we don't have some of the crimes of violence. Most of our crimes against persons are domestic-related type situations. Our biggest problem is in the retail theft, businesses up in the Bluffs, and then the industrial complex, the old Chrysler complex that was redeveloped through U.S. Capitol and the city of Fenton. Within that, they get into those businesses to steal the scrap metal, the copper, brass, that they're gonna recycle, and then the copper cables that are back there. Periodically, we have some catalytic converters stolen, but that's dropped off because of some of the legislation that's been passed over the last couple of years to cut that down. Primarily, it's the theft of copper, brass, and the cable. We had an investigation when Officer, I've lost his name, was in that bro position. It became a national investigation involving California and the U.S. Postal Service and the U.S. Marshal's Office to find this guy. They were stealing tractor trailers, flatbeds. They took a tractor trailer with copper, deposited the cable down in Jefferson County someplace, and then brought the tractor trailer back. The other big issue that we're having currently is the tractor trailers they're breaking into to try to steal the CPU out of the dash. And it's usually Freightliners with the Detroit engines in them. The ones they've been hitting are not Detroit engines, so they just tear the dash up, and that computer hard drive unit's not there. So we've had about 24 over the last couple months, 12 in the month of February, where they just tore the dashes out of the Estes trucking. To address those issues up in the Bluffs, we're fortunate, we have a partnership with Gruy Real Estate Company. They paid for 12 or 10 flock cameras that are posted in the Bluffs retail area. You cannot get in or out of the Bluffs without being captured at one of the entry points or exit points. And that's been beneficial over the years in identifying shoplifters and other people up there to create havoc for us. Some of the retail theft issues is there's a time lag from when it happens at the big box stores before they call the police. And that has to be the corporate procedures they have to go through before they can contact us. It's gotten better with having the borough officers assigned there because they develop a one-on-one relationship with the managers of the Targets, the Walmarts, the JCPenney's, the Lowe's. So if they have a problem, they can get a hold of Officer Myers, and he's on it right away and usually tracking the people down. At command staff last week, we talked about a theft technique that was rather unique. The individual stole Lego blocks from another store, somehow removed the contents, filled it with broken Legos that he bought at garage sales and things, sealed the box back up and took it back to Target and got a full refund. But he did not buy it from that Target. He bought it at another Target. That box was subsequently bought by a citizen. They took it home, loaded it up, and it's not what they ordered or bought. They pulled the other one off the shelf. Same thing had happened. Officer Myers has identified that suspect. Let's just say he's not been very cooperative in coming to the station to talk to him. The other issue that we have another 11 flock cameras throughout the city of Fenton. One of them is in our radar trailer. So when we take the radar trailer out, not only are we telling the public you've got some speeding issues on these streets, but it also captures license plates for us, unbeknownst to areas. So we can put it into areas where we have pop-up crimes. We've got a portable LPR camera, and then 10 other ones within the city of Fenton. Again, you cannot really get into or out of the city of Fenton without being captured on an LPR camera. Haven't been quite as successful with those as we are in the Bluffs. One quick story on the Bluffs. The guy came into Target, did something. They went to the Walmart video system, identified the car, got the car leaving the Bluffs, got the license plate, put out a bulletin on it. He was stopped in Colorado 2 days later. He had over 60 stolen credit cards that he was using throughout the country. So just that simple capture of the license plate led to this recovery of 60 stolen credit cards and a suspect that was traveling the country doing that. The other issues that we have, as I mentioned, the stolen copper and brass. We're using the video cameras that are on the businesses in the industrial complex and our LPRs to try to identify them. Officer Abeloff has identified 2 suspects that he's trying to locate, a male and a female. They came back 2 consecutive nights and got copper and brass from one of the businesses. He hasn't been able to locate them. They're transient individuals throughout the Jefferson County, St. Louis County West area. Hopefully, he'll pick them up, and he has already documented that they did sell some of the things at a recycling center somewhere in St. Louis County. The cameras are a blessing, and not only can we use them, but the surrounding agencies, Jefferson County, Baldwin, Creve Coeur, Maryland Heights. Maryland Heights detective utilizes our camera a lot when they have stolen credit cards and checks, because it seems to gravitate to the city of Fenton, to the Bluffs. He utilizes the cameras and identifies the suspects. Same thing with Creve Coeur. Any questions?
I first met Captain Lawson 25 years ago on a golf course with 2 outstanding homicide detectives. They told the story that he was in a crime scene at the time, and where some people would cut out a piece of carpet, he would take an entire carpet, and they transferred him before he had the opportunity to seize his first 4-bedroom home and bring it to Clayton. Those were good days back then.
Ms. Campbell and her staff have probably worked on some of the evidence I have always collected. Yes, that's true. At one time, the gentleman in property control swore they were gonna put me in a cardboard box and mail me someplace without a return address, just to get rid of me because I put so much evidence in property control.
Captain, I saw that your precinct has a lot of self-initiated calls, which is great. What are some of the top things as far as those self-initiated calls? Is it?
A lot of them are some extra patrols because of issues. Wally's has become a collection point for pop-up car shows. So some of them.
That's a lot. For those that don't know, that's a very large
It could be
gas station.
half a dozen, or it could be several dozen cars.
Mhm.
They'll show up and rev their motors and kind of take up space on the parking lot, creates havoc for the owners of Wally's. I've worked with the captain from Troop C, Colonel Lohr, and I've talked about it because the owners got a hold of him, or actually the captain from Troop C got a hold of him. And we've been able to address that. We usually are very forward approaching on Fridays and Saturday nights to make contact with these individuals, let them know that you can conduct your business here, but once it gets out of hand and management says you have to leave, you have to leave. And management has posted the lot, no trespassing, which has helped us because now they know they can't just congregate there. Some of the other issues are drug activity periodically, but I would say if you look at the traffic violations, unlicensed vehicles, expired plates, and the highway safety unit patrols on midnights throughout Benton. And a majority of our DWIs come from the highway safety unit along Bowles, 44 and 141. Our officers occasionally will find it. We had one in February. The individual tried to take out the concrete cover and thing around the dumpster at Quick Trip on Bowles. He did take out the concrete and fell asleep behind the wheel and then denied that he had an accident.
Wow.
Like I said, we're very fortunate we don't have a lot of crimes against violence. I hesitate to say anything. We usually have a death scene every other year, but we didn't have one in 25, so
You're due.
unfortunately, there may be one sometime in the 25.
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you for the thoroughness of your report.
You're welcome.
We look forward to the next 10 years.
He said enthusiastically.
Next up, we have Captain Plebiak from BPS. He can only tell you so much, though, so ask him questions, okay?
Morning.
Good morning, sir, commissioners. My name is Matt Plebiak, captain of the Bureau of Professional Standards. Refer to that to BPS. We also have a lot of other names.
What are some of them?
Internal Affairs is what's commonly referred to. I don't have a PowerPoint because if after 63 years of law enforcement, like the Captain Lawson has, I would never be able to figure it out. So like I said, Bureau of Professional Standards, our job description, BPS, is to objectively investigate complaints that come in from the public and within the department for allegations of police misconduct. So what we do is we take those complaints, we see if there's any sort of policy violation or law violation and recommend disciplinary action if necessary. Ultimately maintaining the integrity and public trust of the police department. The first thing that I would like to do is introduce the staff in BPS. First, Lieutenant Conradi. This is the Deputy Commander, Lieutenant Conradi. Matt's got 22 years of service with the police department. He's been in the 1st, 3rd, 7th Precincts, Neighborhood Enforcement Team, the Intelligence Unit, the Academy, Crimes Against Persons, the RIC, and Patrol Ancillary Services Unit. He's been with BPS for 8 months now. Next, Sergeant Ebony Miller. Ebony there. Ebony's been with the department for 15 years. I'm sorry.
Come in the room.
Oh, come on in, guys.
Yeah, they
Sorry.
can come up front right here.
All the way in. All the way in. All the way in.
Peeking.
Come on.
I told you to do this part. This is Ebony Miller, Sergeant. She's been with the department for 15 years, almost. Ebony's been in the 1st Precinct. She's been a school resource officer. She's worked in the city of Delwood. She's been in the city of Jennings, and she's been in BPS 3 years. So she's one of our most experienced detectives in our unit. Next, I have Sergeant Tara O'Fallon.
Hi,
Tara's
Tara.
got 13 years
Right
in the
up there.
department.
Scared of us. We're gonna bite.
Tara's worked in the 1st, the 2nd, and the 7th. She's been in the transit unit, Crimes Against Persons, as a homicide detective, and she's been in BPS for 8 months. Next, I have Clayton Fair is not here. Clayton's got 19 years on the department. He's been in BPS a little over 3 years. And Clayton has served in the 2nd, the 3rd, the city of Marlboro, the 5th Precinct, the 7th Precinct, General Assignment, and the Bureau of Security Services, and he has 3.5 years in our unit. Next, Brandon Fiesel, Sergeant Fiesel. Sergeant Fiesel's got 17 years on the department. He's served in the 1st, the 2nd, the Domestic Violence Unit, and he's been in BPS a year and 2 months now. And lastly, Columbus Love, Sergeant Love. Depending on how well you know Columbus, you either call him Warren or Columbus. Still trying to figure out where I'm at with that one.
That's my point guard.
Spark.
That's my point guard.
Don't ask Ebony about that the other day, though. She already critiqued him in the office yesterday about it.
Come on, man, show him the trophy. Here, show him the trophy.
Sergeant Love's been in the department for 18 years. He's been in the 1st, the 3rd, the transit unit. He was a detective in the auto crime unit. And most recently, he was with bomb and arson unit. He's been with our unit for 8 months now. So as you can see, we've got over 130 years collectively. I've been on the department for 28 years now. I've been in the 1st, the 3rd, the 4th, the 6th. I spent a great deal of my time in tactical operations. I did 17 years there. I've now been in BPS unit for almost 2 years, and in May, it'll be 2 years. So collectively, we have over 130 years in BPS. So we cannot do any of the tasks that that we have to do without the experience that we have. We have, like I said, officers or supervisors from tactical operations to auto crime to bomb and arson, from SRU to SROs to division patrol and homicide, general assignments. So collectively, we can accomplish almost any task that we get assigned in BPS. Which leads me to, do you guys still want to stand up there? I know you don't want to.
I don't.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I'll just go over some of the tasks that we are assigned with. So all the internal, so blue teams, what we call them, that's just a routing system. So any type of department vehicle accident, informal actions, use of force reviews, pursuit reviews, like I said, community citizen complaints, internal investigations. We also assist our own personnel services unit and outside agencies with background investigations on former employees, whether they be wanting to come back to our department, to be rehired or seeking employment elsewhere. We do a lot of Brady Giglio requests from the United States Attorney's Office. We just did 18 of those this week. So we do a BPS investigation or a resume, look through the resume of all employees that are potentially to testify in federal court. So there's a big federal court case coming up in the end of March, and we have 18 of officers that'll be potentially testifying in that. So the U.S. Attorney wants to know kind of know their background. We assist our own record room with sunshine law requests and FOIA requests regarding past BPS cases. If we're allowed to send out some of that stuff, we can do administrative purposes. We house all lawsuit notifications when we receive them from the Office of the Chief. We conduct policy and procedure reviews relating to current past investigations and make recommendations for possible policy changes for the department. What else? We maintain the department's guidance, early guidance, the guidance program, early warning system. So if we see that we have an employee that may have a lot of minor policy violations, then we can set up a guidance program for that employee to try to set them in the right path and try to help their career out. We assist the county counselors and prosecuting attorney's office with interrogatories relative to past cases and lawsuits. If they have cases that come up with an officer, mostly lawsuits, they will request past cases from us, and we'll provide those cases to them. We store and maintain all past BPS case files. We also conduct orientational and promotional training to all professional staff and commissioned staff that have been promoted or new hires. Kind of tell them what we do, explain the policy process and the BPS process to them. Try to encourage them not to get in trouble, and what usually leads to a lot of officers getting into trouble. Most importantly, well, not most importantly, but in the next 2 months, Lieutenant Conradi has really spearheaded. We're going to begin training for all commissioned supervisors, to include professional staff supervisors, on our new conduct manual and CBA training. We haven't had any training, but we have the new manual. So for 2 months, about 8 classes, 4 hours for those classes, we're going to train all of our supervisors, professional staff, and commissioned staff to give them a better understanding of what they can and cannot do, specifically pertaining to the CBA. So that's going to start next month, and we'll go for 2 months. That's really all I have. I'm open to questions.
How does a citizen complaint get routed to you? If a citizen goes to a precinct to make a complaint against an officer?
There's different methods. We have an online portal on the county website that you can go and write commendations or complaints. We don't typically get a lot of commendations, but we do get a few. So we would get that. We all get an email. Everybody in the office gets an email that there's something in that portal. We'll review it, contact that person. They do a lot of in-person. They come right to our office, come downstairs. Security service will advise us that someone's downstairs to speak to us. We'll go down there and take their complaint. They can do it at the precinct level as well. And then those supervisors can route through a blue team investigation. They can send it to us that way as well.
Questions?
Very thorough.
Very interesting.
Very
Yeah,
interesting.
Captain, a couple, we used to get copies of the citizen reports. Let's back up. Your unique role puts you in a place where we know you can't mention a lot, right? So we used to get copies of the citizen, excuse me, the citizen reports that had a finalized or a conclusion, and they'd exceeded or they've run through the timeline for appeal and all of that. We don't get those anymore. Is there a reason why?
If there are reports that you would like, we can for sure get them to you. I don't know, how long ago do you remember getting reports?
We got them for years. I think we just stopped.
Last year.
Yeah, we got them up sometime into last year. They stopped.
We can figure that out and figure out what reports you would want, or after discipline or disposition has been imposed, we can for sure let you know what the outcome was of.
I think it was the ones where the disposition had already been settled.
Correct.
Because the
think-
others might go to appeal, and so those are the ones we didn't want to see.
Okay, just the ones that, and we don't know really when it'll go to appeal. Sometimes maybe a month or two after that. If some-
There's a timeline that they have to appeal. So once
Yeah.
that timeline had expired is when we would get copies of those.
We can talk later. If you
Okay.
guys want any disposition on each case as it comes in, then we can for sure send that to you or make those dispositions or the entire case available to you.
Thank you for that. And the second, again, going back to your unique role and the need for confidentiality, outside of the issues you confront on investigating, what are some of the other issues your team has to deal with? Technology, whatever those might be, right? Not specific case related, but more general. Anything that we can help with, anything you need us to?
With, I'll watch myself here. AI is obviously important, could speed up the efficiency of our unit, where we could have a system that could listen to the interviews as they're being conducted and put that all on paper and then assist with the report process or the report writing. Whereas right now, each detective has a set of headphones that they play back, rewind, play, rewind, play, rewind, play, to make sure they're accurate in the depiction in the narrative. So I know there's AI technology out there that will print those interviews down word for word from the investigator to the alleged party, and then what the question is, what the response is. But with the new county government and their kind of, kind of safeguards with allowing other technology into the systems, we're having issues with that. So if we could find some sort of technology that would help the efficiency of the department in that way, that'd be very beneficial.
Other questions? Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Kevin.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Fine, thank you. I know years ago, nobody ever volunteered to be a part of, in those days, internal affairs. And now we get an opening in internal affairs now. We have a list of people who want to be a part of internal affairs. I remember some years ago, Tim Fitch said, if you really want to learn about how this department works, everything that goes on in this department, you need to spend some time in BPS. So, and they're doing a great job. So that's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Moving along, we have in our packet, board members, the minutes from our February 26, 2025 meeting. Assuming you reviewed them, is there a motion?
I move to approve the minutes for the February 26th board meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Communications, Amy, do we have any incoming or outgoing communications that we need to deal with? Okay. Next item, old business. Any old business we need to mop up, look at? None? Next are our contracts. We have a lot of professional service agreements. They have been in your packet. They are lettered A through P. Is there a motion that we approve the professional service agreement? And there also is a memorandum of understanding in there as well. A through P as in our packet.
I move that we approve the, the professional service agreements and the one memorandum of, understanding for Jennings School District.
Thank you. A second? Thank you. All in favor of approval? Thank you very much. Chief, we have a general order in front of us on the
Captain, it's your show.
Batesville program.
Chair, if you don't mind, just a comment.
Yes.
On the contracts. Those people who may be watching this, the diversity of education we give our officers is remarkable. I mean, this isn't just the nuts and bolts of being police officers. It's everything from nuts and bolts, crime scene investigations, but it's supervision, it's elderly neglect, abuse, and exploitation. It's cognitive interviews. It's extraordinarily well-rounded, and hence the quality of our officers, because they get great training, and same thing for lab and everything else. What Lisa and her staff does is remarkable in keeping their people up to date, so.
I agree. It's never a lack of opportunity in education.
I had a similar comment on the Jennings memorandum of understanding. Believe it or not, that took a couple of years to come together. But it really shows that they trust our department to give us access to their cameras and things. That's a very hot button issue, as everybody knows. So I commend Captain Roediger and his team. And I know Captain Morrow was involved in that extensively. So that type of relationship building, I think, is outstanding.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, General Order 25-087, the BAIT vehicle program. Not too many changes in here. Mainly the monitoring will be done by General Assignment Unit. And then clearing it up for the officers that the BAIT vehicle is not to be regarded as a marked or unmarked police vehicle. Therefore, we are not able to pursue that vehicle. Have any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Is there a motion that we approve General Order 25-087 on bait vehicle program?
I'll motion to approve the bait vehicle program 25-087.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Captain. The annual report, 2024 annual report. Still yours. Okay.
So yes, our annual report that's published every year pretty much kind of talks about what goes on in each division, overall crime statistics, obviously the letter from the chief. This is published online as well for the citizens to review if they're interested through our Power DMS portal. Any questions about the annual report?
It was well done.
No, yeah, no questions about the report itself, but do we get, how many citizens clicks do we get on this in a year?
You know, honestly, I'm really not sure. I'd have to check with Jacqueline or Marissa to find that information out.
It's neat that we do it. You just wonder whether the citizens get as much value out of it as we do.
Correct.
I think I like last year's picture better, but no, this is fine. This is there a motion that you want us to approve the 2024 annual report? Is there a motion to do so? Second?
Second.
All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Thanks, Captain.
Thank you. Yes, sir? You have a question? No. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Anything for public forum, Amy? No? Okay. The Board of Police Commissioners may vote to go into closed, excuse me if I can get through it, closed meeting for legal advice and review of claims and lawsuits involving the police department. Section 610-021-1 RSMO and section 114.020.11 SLCRO. Discussion of employee and personnel matters, Section 610.0213, and Section 13 RSMO, and Sections 114.021.13 and 13 SLCRO, and Sections 610.021.19A and D RSMO, and Sections 114.0201.121 and 23 SLCRO. Discussion in open meetings and matters closed pursuant to Section 610.021.19D RSMO and Section 114.020.121 SLCRO would impair the ability of St. Louis County and the St. Louis County Police Department and the Board of Police Commissioners to protect the security or safety of persons or real property, and the public interest in non-disclosure outweighs the public interest in disclosure of the records. Is there a motion that we go into closed session? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Ask be a roll call. Amy, do your thing.
Commissioner Ashworth.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Commissioner Hassler.
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson.
Yes.
Commissioner Wild.
Yes.
We are officially in moving to closed session. Thank you, everybody. We are back from our closed session. There was a vote of everyone except Commissioner Tony Thompson, who had to leave early. Everyone else voted unanimously to return to open session. There were no other votes taken. And we have a April meeting of Thursday, April 17th for our next board meeting. Is there anything else?
Motion we adjourn?
Second.
Amy?
Commissioner Ashworth.
Yes.
Commissioner Banks.
Yes.
Commissioner Hassler.
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson. Commissioner Wild.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
All right, thank you, everybody.